Okay, so today we're going to kind of go deep on something, something that I think affects all of us
Yeah.
and has to do with how we see our abilities,
Mm.
like what we think we're good at and what we maybe think we're not so good at,
Right.
and how that, I don't know, plays into what we think we should be doing and what we end up doing.
Absolutely.
So for this deep dive, we're looking at an article called, let's see, yeah, Wigfield Dimensional Comparisons Help 2020.pdf.
Okay.
And it's really fascinating stuff. Like, you ever feel like when you're, when you're really good at one thing, and it kind of, sometimes you feel worse about another thing,
Yeah.
even if you're actually decent at that other thing.
Totally.
It's like, well, almost like these, I know, these internal comparisons we're making.
Infernal scorecards. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're always sort of sizing ourselves up, aren't we?
We are. And this article is saying that these comparisons, like between, being good at math or being, good with words.
Yeah. Or creative versus analytical.
Exactly.
All sorts of different dimensions.
Yeah.
It says it doesn't just affect our confidence, right?
Right.
It actually changes what we think is important. Like, it shapes our values.
Yeah. That's what's wild to me. It's not just like, oh, I'm better at this than that. It's like, well, now I think this is more important because I'm better at it.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a real connection there. And that's what we're going to try to unpack today.
Yeah, it's like it's this hidden force. Like, these comparisons are going on in our heads all the time.
Under the surface.
Yeah, and they're kind of steering our motivations and our choices without us even realizing it.
Right. It's like this subtle influence.
Yeah. So, our goal today is really to, bring those comparisons out into the open.
Shine a light on them.
Yeah, exactly. So we can start to understand how they're working and maybe even, make more conscious choices.
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, so to dive into this, we need to look at two kind of core ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
Two sort of frameworks for thinking about this. So the first one is called dimensional comparison theory.
Okay.
And this is basically how we compare our abilities, in different areas. So, am I better at, playing sports than I am at, playing music?
Right, right. Comparing across different domains, different skills.
Exactly. So it's all about those comparisons.
Yeah. And the second core idea is expectancy value theory.
Right.
So this is looking at how our beliefs about whether we can succeed at something,
Okay.
combined with how much we care about it,
Right.
actually drive us to act. So, our beliefs and our values, our motivations, how those all come together to shape our behavior.
So it's like, if I believe I can do something and I care about it, then I'm more likely to, actually do it.
Exactly. And make choices that lead me in that direction.
Game choices, yeah.
So you've got the comparisons on one hand, and then this sort of motivation and value piece on the other. Right. And the article is really cool because it's like bringing those two together, right?
It is, yeah. That's the key connection here.
Yeah. It's saying that these dimensional comparisons, when we compare ourselves across different areas, it doesn't just give us a rough ranking of our skills.
Right.
Oh, I'm better at this than that.
Yeah.
It actually it affects how we feel about our abilities in each of those areas.
It messes with our self-concept.
It does, yeah.
Our perception of our own abilities.
Yeah. And then it goes even further. It says it also affects how much importance or value we attach to those different activities.
Exactly. So it's influencing both our self-perceptions and our subjective task values.
Right.
How much we care about those different things.
Right. So it's really this whole hidden process that's shaping what we end up doing and pursuing in life.
And it all starts with those comparisons.
It does. So, the article dives into the power of comparison itself, right? Yeah. How do we even judge what we're good at?
Right. How do we form those judgments?
Yeah, yeah. And the article mentions three main ways we do this.
Okay.
The first one is temporal comparison, which is basically you're comparing yourself to your past self.
Right. I'm so much better at guitar now than I was a year ago.
Exactly, yeah. So you're looking back and seeing how you've progressed.
Right. It's a self-improvement kind of comparison.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's social comparison, which I think we're all very familiar with.
Oh, yeah. That's the classic one.
Yeah. It's you're looking at the people around you and seeing how you stack up against them.
Yeah, like in a classroom, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're always sort of aware of how other people are doing.
Yeah, you're peeking at the other person's test.
Exactly.
So yeah, we all know that one. But the one we're really focusing on today is dimensional comparison.
Yeah, that's the one that's really at the heart of this article.
It is. It is. So this is when we're making those comparisons within ourselves.
Internal face-off.
It is. Yeah. So it's like, comparing our ability in, cooking versus coding.
Right, like, I can bake a mean chocolate chip cookie, but coding still feels like a foreign language.
Exactly. Exactly. Or like, I don't know, maybe you're amazing at, playing basketball, but you're, not so great at drawing.
Right, those internal comparisons across different skills.
Exactly. And, what dimensional comparison theory has found, which I think is really counterintuitive,
Okay.
is that um, being really good at one thing can actually make us feel less capable in another area,
Interesting.
even if our actual skill level in that second area is the same as someone who isn't as strong in the first thing.
So even if we're objectively as good,
Yeah,
our perception is skewed.
it is. It's like, it's almost like our strength in one area is casting a shadow on our perception of our ability in another area.
That's a great way to put it, the shadow effect.
Yeah.
And the article gives this great example with students. It says, students who are better at math than they are at writing tend to think they're worse at writing than students who have the exact same writing ability but aren't as good at math.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
It's like our brain is playing tricks on us.
It is. It is. And so this is all based on something called the internal external frame of reference model,
Okay.
or the IE model for short.
Funny model. Got it.
Yeah. So this model, it was initially focused on how we see ourselves in math and verbal skills.
Okay.
Like those are the two areas they were looking at.
So kind of like the classic academic subjects.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And but what's really cool is that a meta-analysis, which is basically a study that looks at the results of a whole bunch of other studies.
So it's like a study of studies.
It is, yeah, to
Mm.
get a bigger picture
Mm-hmm.
has actually like really strongly supported this model.
Wow.
So it's held up, across different ways of measuring achievement
Okay.
in different cultures around the world.
So it's not just like a Western thing.
No,
It's cross-cultural.
and with students of all ages.
So it's not just like a certain age group.
No, no, and they've even done longitudinal studies, which means they followed students over time
Mm-hmm.
to see how these effects, played out.
So there's actually like long-term evidence for this.
Yeah, there is. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. This IE model is pretty foundational, it sounds like.
It is, and the IE model, it really highlights this internal comparison, right? This dimensional comparison
Okay.
alongside the external social comparison.
So it's looking at both.
It is, yeah, and researchers have identified something called the contrast effect,
The contrast effect, okay.
which is basically because we're making these internal comparisons,
Yeah.
we tend to overestimate how well we're doing in the area where we feel strong
Okay.
and underestimate it in the area where we feel weaker.
So it's like our internal scale gets tipped.
It does, yeah.
Mhm.
It's like it's almost like, if you're standing next to someone who's really tall, you might feel shorter.
Right, even if you're actually average height.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
It's about the comparison.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. So, we talked about how this started with a focus on math and verbal skills,
Right, those were sort of the initial domains
Yeah.
that they were looking at.
but it didn't just stay there.
No, it expanded. Right, it
smart.
did.
Yeah.
They started looking at other areas.
Yeah, it blossomed. So, dimensional comparison theory grew into what we call the generalized IE model.
Okay, the generalized model.
Yeah, and this recognized that, we're constantly comparing ourselves across, like, a much wider range of subjects.
Right, not just math and language.
Yeah, than just math and language.
Yeah.
So, it could be anything, right? It could be, artistic skills. It could be athletic skills. It could be, social skills.
Yeah, anything we can kind of evaluate ourselves on. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it also took into account that when we're making these comparisons, it's not just about how well we're performing,
Okay.
Other information that's specific to each area can also like influence how we see ourselves.
Right, so it's not just the raw score, so to speak.
It's not. No, it's more nuanced than that.
Yeah, there are other factors at play.
Yeah.
I'm curious about these different kinds of comparisons. You mentioned like far and near comparison.
Right. Right. So that's a really interesting part of this this generalized model.
Okay.
So far comparisons are when we're comparing subjects that we generally think of as being quite different.
Okay.
So like, say, chemistry and history.
Right. Very different fields.
Yeah, and these kinds of comparisons are more likely to create that contrast effect we talked about,
All right.
where, strength in one area makes us feel less capable in the other.
So if I'm really good at chemistry, I might feel worse about my history skills.
Exactly, yeah. Even if your history skills are actually, pretty decent.
Right. It's that shadow effect again.
It is. It is. And then, on the other hand, you have near
Very
comparisons.
comparison.
And
Right.
these involve subjects that seem more related to each other. So,
Yeah.
like algebra and geometry.
Okay. So within the same field.
Yeah, kind of within the same general area.
Right.
And in these cases, the contrast might be weaker.
Okay.
Or we could even see something called an assimilation effect.
An assimilation effect. Okay. What's
Yeah.
that?
So this is kind of the opposite of the contrast effect.
Oh, okay.
So it's like if you feel really on top of your game in one area,
Yeah.
that confidence can actually spill over
Yeah.
and make you feel a bit more capable in a related area.
So it's like a boost instead of a drag.
It is, yeah. So like, if you nail a really tough physics problem,
Yeah.
you might feel a little surge of confidence when you look at a related engineering challenge.
Interesting. So my success in physics kind of rubs off on my feelings about engineering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It is. It is.
Yeah.
But the article makes this like really important point,
Okay.
which is that what really determines like how strong these effects are and in what direction they go
Yeah.
is how similar or different the individual perceives those subjects to be.
So it's all about my perception.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like one study found that students who strongly believed that math and language were like completely different,
Mhm.
they actually experienced more negative comparison effects between them.
Okay. So if I see math and language as totally separate things, my strength in math might make me feel even worse about my language skills.
Exactly, yeah. So it's really your own personal view of how related or unrelated those areas are.
That makes sense.
That's driving those comparisons.
It's like our beliefs are shaping the whole process.
They are.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So, we've been talking a lot about like how we see our ability.
Right. The self-concept part.
Yeah. But the article also draws a line to like what we value.
Right. That's the other big piece.
Yeah. And how this whole comparison process, shapes what we find important.
So how do those comparisons affect our values?
Yeah. And this is where expectancy value theory, or EVT, comes in.
Okay. EVT.
And it's kind of a later version called situated expectancy value theory, or SAV.
SAVT.
Got it.
Yeah.
So these theories look at how our beliefs about whether we can succeed at something,
Okay.
our own sense of our abilities, like our self-concept, and something called subjective task values, or STVs.
Okay. STVs. So this is about how much we value different tasks.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So they all interact
Okay.
to influence what we do and what we choose.
So my beliefs, my abilities, and how much I value something.
Yes.
All those are working together.
They are. And, these subjective task values, I think, are really like a crucial piece here.
They do seem key. So what are they exactly? Like what makes up our STVs?
Yeah, so the theory breaks this down into a few different parts.
Okay.
So the first one is interest, or intrinsic value.
Okay, so that's like how much we just enjoy doing something.
Exactly, yeah. It's like it's fun for you.
Right. It's intrinsically rewarding.
It is.
Okay, what else?
And then there's attainment value,
The attainment value. Okay.
which is how important succeeding at this task is to your sense of who you are.
So it's like how much it aligns with my identity.
It is, yeah. So like if you see yourself as an athlete and you're really good at, playing basketball, winning a basketball game might have a lot of attainment value for you.
Right, because it reinforces that identity.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so we've got interest, attainment value. What else?
Then there's utility value,
Utility.
which is about how useful the task is for, reaching your future goals.
Okay, so it's more practical.
It is.
It's like how this helps me get where I want to go.
Exactly, yeah. So like if you want to be a doctor, doing well in your biology classes, has a lot of utility value.
Right, because it's directly relevant to that goal.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so we've got interest, attainment value, utility value, anything else?
And then finally, there's relative cost,
Relative cost, okay.
which is basically what you had to give up, like time and energy to do it.
So it's the downside, the trade-off.
It is, yeah. So like if, training for a marathon takes up, a lot of your free time, That's a relative cost.
Right, you're giving up something else to do it.
Yeah. So that's all part of subjective task value.
Okay, so those four components all combined make up how much we value something.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm curious, how do those dimensional comparisons that we've been talking about, how do they actually influence these values?
Yeah. So the article points out that the link between those kinds of comparisons,
Yeah.
the dimensional ones and our SKVs,
Mm-hmm.
it's generally not as strong as it is for our self-perceptions of ability.
Okay.
So, the way we see ourselves, in terms of like being good or bad at something,
Yeah.
seems to be more directly affected by those comparisons
Okay.
than how much we value something.
Okay. But there is still a link.
There is.
It's just not as strong.
Yeah, there is. There is. But one study did find that the strongest effects of dimensional comparison on our values were related to how much we intrinsically enjoyed something
Okay.
and the cost involved.
Okay.
Specifically, the effort and emotional energy it took.
So if I'm comparing myself, across different areas,
Mhm.
and one area feels like it takes a lot more effort or it's more emotionally draining,
Yeah,
that might affect how much I value it.
it could. Yeah, and interestingly, research also suggests that our subjective task values tend to be less specific to a particular subject
Okay.
than our self-beliefs about our abilities.
So our values are a little more general.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you might generally value being creative,
Okay.
even if you think you're, like, a better painter than a sculptor.
Right. The value is kind of overarching.
It is, yeah.
It's not tied to one specific skill.
Exactly, yeah. And the key insight here, I think, is that, how we perform relative to other areas
Okay.
can actually create, like, positive or negative feelings
Interesting.
about how much we value activities in those other areas.
Okay.
And again, this depends on how similar we see them.
So it's all about those perceived similarities.
It is, yeah. And, this whole process actually helps build our own personal ranking of what we find important in life.
So those comparisons are shaping our hierarchies of values.
They are, yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. It's like this whole hidden layer of influence.
It is, yeah. And, the article also delves into, like, the why and the how behind these comparisons,
Okay.
like how they affect how we understand our experiences and even our emotions.
So it's not just about our perceptions of ability and our values. It's
Well,
also about how we interpret our experiences and our emotions.
yeah.
Okay, I'm curious about that. So how do these dimensional comparisons actually affect our interpretations of our experiences?
Well, they can really color how we interpret our own successes and failures, for example.
Right.
So, like, if you feel like you're a math whiz,
Yeah.
but you struggle with writing,
Okay.
you might explain your math success as being down to your natural talent,
Okay.
right? Like, oh, I'm just good at math.
Yeah.
But then when you have a success in writing,
Yeah.
you might attribute that to, just putting in a lot of extra effort.
So it's like we're using different explanations
We are, yeah.
depending on the area.
It's like, almost like we're using our perceived strengths and weaknesses in one area as a lens to understand our results in another area.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like we're filtering our experiences through those comparisons.
Exactly, yeah.
And what about emotions? You mentioned that these comparisons can also affect our emotions.
They can. So, these comparisons, they leave their mark on our emotional memories
Okay.
and how we react to, our achievements.
Okay.
So, like the article mentions some findings that doing well in math can actually lead to less enjoyment of language arts
Oh, interesting.
and vice versa.
So it's that contrast effect again,
Yeah,
but playing out in our feelings.
exactly. Yeah. So, like, if I feel completely drained after, wrestling with a tough coding problem,
Yeah.
the idea of then trying to, like, brainstorm creative writing ideas might feel really unappealing.
Right, because you're comparing those experiences.
Yeah.
And one is feeling more negative because of the other.
Exactly, yeah. And the direction of the comparison also matters.
Okay.
So downward comparisons, where you're comparing yourself and feeling like you're worse off in one area compared to another,
Yeah.
that can actually bring your mood down.
So it's like a double whammy.
It is, yeah.
Oh.
But upward comparisons, where you're feeling better in one area than another, can actually give you a bit of an emotional lift.
Interesting. So the direction of the comparison matters.
It does, yeah. It's pretty fascinating. And there's even a connection to test anxiety.
Test anxiety.
Yeah,
Wow, so these comparisons can actually affect our anxiety levels.
they can.
That's pretty powerful.
It is, yeah. And the article mentions potential negative links within a specific subject
Okay.
and positive links across different subjects.
So it's like if I'm comparing myself to others in the same subject, that might increase my anxiety.
Yeah.
But if I'm comparing myself across different subjects, it might actually decrease it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it is. It's complex.
Yeah, but it's so fascinating.
This is all really shedding light on like so many of my own experiences.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, I think the big question now is like, what are the takeaways for us, the listeners?
Right. What can we actually do with this information?
Yeah, like how can we use this in our own lives?
Yeah. How can we apply it?
And, the article highlights that understanding these comparison processes, can actually help us become more aware of when we might be unfairly undervaluing our skills or interests in certain areas,
Okay.
simply because we happen to be really good at something else.
So it's like we're holding ourselves back.
We are, yeah. It's like, if you're a total natural at playing the piano,
Yeah.
you shouldn't just automatically assume that you're hopeless at singing
Right.
and never even try.
Just because you excel in one area
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't be good at another.
Exactly, yeah. And, recognizing that your strength in piano might be coloring your perception of your singing ability is like the first step.
Right. Becoming aware of that bias
Yeah.
that the comparison might be creating.
Exactly, yeah. And the article also suggests that when we're trying to motivate ourselves or others, we should think about their values and experiences across different areas, not just in one specific domain.
Okay.
So it's like, don't just focus on, one thing.
Right. Broaden the perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the whole picture.
And that's especially important for parents and teachers, right?
It is.
Because they're often in a position to motivate and encourage.
Yeah, so for teachers and parents, offering feedback that helps counteract these, negative comparison effects and encourages, a broader range of interests is so important.
Right. It's about helping individuals see their abilities
Yeah,
in a more balanced way.
exactly. And, the article also points to like some future research directions,
Yeah.
like digging deeper into how these comparisons affect, different aspects of our values over time.
Okay, so there's still more to learn.
There is, yeah. And they also talk about incorporating, how we compare to our past selves
Okay.
when we look at what we value.
So bringing in that temporal comparison piece.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a really like rich area of research
It sounds like it.
that has a lot of implications for how we understand ourselves and how we make choices.
Absolutely.
So I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, yeah.
What are the key things that we should really remember from this conversation?
Well, I think the core message is that these dimensional comparisons are really powerful and often unconscious force shaping how we see ourselves and what we value.
It's like this underlying current.
It is, yeah. And just because you excel in one area, it doesn't automatically mean you're lacking in another.
Right.
But that internal comparison can sometimes trick you into believing that.
Yeah.
And that can lead us to underestimate our potential